I'm Doug, and I'm the Vice President here at Digital Commerce 360, and I'm going to be your moderator for today's event, which is sponsored by Partnerize. So thank you for joining us. So today we're going to look at several flavors of partnership marketing available to retailers and online sellers that will drive customer loyalty, brand awareness, and a higher customer lifetime value over the long haul. So many merchants today are finding success using influencers, bloggers, social media, and other content partners in tandem with their affiliate marketing, as you'll hear about today from our experts. Plus, you're going to learn about how various methods that online sellers can employ to create a versatile channel partnership program that will drive ROI from our partnership automation leader, Partnerize, and our guest speaker from StubHub. So our three experts joining us today will be Dave Huff, who's the head of partnerships and affiliates at StubHub, Mike Winan, who is a customer success director at Partnerize, and our own April Berthine, who's the director of retail editorial here at Digital Commerce 360. So just a few housekeeping notes before we begin, and I pass this on to April. We're going to answer all of your questions at the end of the webinar after we have our fireside chat with our panel. And to do that, you can use the chat box on your right to send in the questions. Also, you can use that same box to let us know if you have any technical issues going on right now. We'll help you address those. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to April to begin today's event. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Tom. All right. Well, let's get started. So first, like we talked about in the introduction, there are many flavors of affiliate marketing. Traditionally, I think the mindset in retail of what affiliate marketing is digital coupon sites like Retail Me Not or Ebates or Rakuten. But really, this has changed a lot in the last decade. And what types of marketing that go into that affiliate bucket is much larger and a bit more gray. A lot of marketing initiatives could be considered affiliate, which I think Partnerize, they will use the term partnership marketing a lot because you are attaching your brand to a certain content partner, like a blogger or social media influencer, to really get your message out. So here on the screen, you can see some popular content affiliate sites like the Penny Hoarder or the Wirecutter, which gives good product reviews, but those are all linked to retail websites that help drive sales for these products. Even Toys R Us, I'm not sure if any of our listeners today have been following the ups and downs of the toy retail chain over the years, but essentially they operate like a content affiliate now. If you go to toysrus.com and go to a product detail page, like you can see here on the screen, it says sold and shipped or fulfilled through Macy's.com. You go to click buy and are redirected to that product detail page on Macy's.com. So Toys R Us is still using its brand to generate toy sales, but it's using this content and affiliate partnership model to take its brand and then direct those toy sales to larger retailers. And it's interesting because last year this partnership was with Target and the year before it was with Amazon. So I'm very keen to see how long this lasts and what the future will hold for them. So in 2020, looking at all of the traffic data, this is from the Digital Commerce 360 Top 1000. So if you're not familiar with this is our ranking of the top 1,000 retailers based on their North American web sales. And you can see of these 1,000 retailers, all the ways they generated traffic, this is the median share of traffic for all of those merchants. So these slides are showing the same data, but they're visualized just in slightly different ways. So on the left, you can see in both years, organic search and direct are the largest share of traffic to the top 1,000. But in 2020, you can see how much more organic search increased its share of the market to now the majority of traffic. But for the purposes of our webinar today, I really wanted to highlight the social media and referral share, which are those navy and black boxes. So on the left, you can see that they are a smaller share of traffic, but on the right, you can see how much those did grow year over year in 2020. So social media went from a 2.9% share of traffic to 7.3% share, which is a 150% increase. I mean, that's huge. And I'm sure a lot of the listeners on our call saw this with their own traffic. During the pandemic, people were at home browsing on social media, seeing ads or seeing influencers and getting inspired and then visiting your website. Same with referrals, which is a lot of what this partnership marketing, content, and affiliate marketing would fall into. That was a channel that increased greatly, an 87% increase. So pretty big changes here in the traffic mix. I wanted to call out a great example of a retailer being able to pivot its marketing quickly during the pandemic and specifically leaning on its partners and affiliates in order to get more ROI out of them. I interviewed the CMO of DSW last year, and she was saying a lot of its planned content in March had to get cut. Those in-person photo shoots were just not an option in March 2020. Plus, the need for certain types of footwear really shifted last year. As you can imagine, slippers, sneakers, and flats surged and no one was buying high heels. So their marketing message had to change to highlight the footwear that people wanted. So without photo shoots and a shift in what people wanted, DSW contacted its influencers and its partners for permission to use some of their images in its marketing materials, which you can see here on the screen. This is from their emails. DSW said it increased its budget for affiliates and influencers 20% during the pandemic compared with prior to. And the content worked. Consumers were still listening as email engagement for DSW, measured in clicks and opens, increased 22% during the 6 weeks in April and the beginning of May compared with before. And DSW didn't increase the number of email campaigns it sent. It only adjusted the content inside and the subject lines. So just a great example of how a retailer leaned on its partners to help it in a pinch and get more return on its investment in those relationships. But also, this doesn't have to be a backup plan. Shoppers like seeing products on real people, not just models. So using this type of content and other forms of marketing can really be effective. And I'll touch on a few more examples about that later. So this data here is from a Digital Commerce 360 survey of 143 retailers in June 2021 about their marketing budgets. Here's how they rank the effectiveness of these different types of marketing channels. And I just wanted to call out that all the forms of partner marketing that we're really digging into today, such as social media, content marketing, influencer marketing, and affiliate marketing, all make this list for what retailers rank for those that are highly or somewhat effective. And here again are those buckets of marketing and how retailers break down their budget for each. So as you can see, affiliate content and influencer are not large shares of a retailer's marketing budget, with many dedicating less than 10% of their marketing budget to those channels. But what that means is that there's room for growth in this channel and may not be oversaturated like others. I know Dave from StubHub, who will be on here in just a little bit, can certainly speak about this and how his paid search channel, it's a well-oiled machine, but the costs have been going up steadily each year. And it's pretty much maxed out in terms of, the keywords and the revenue. Whereas with affiliate, there are an infinite number of options. And I know he can speak more about this later during our fireside chat. So these next two slides are all from that same retailer survey. And we asked them how their digital marketing budget spend in 2021 compared with last year. And as you can see, 62% said it increased. And then you can see that further broken down about how much it increased, which is roughly evenly distributed towards the middle between a 6 and 49% increase with no super large or super small increases. Only 14% said decrease, and about a quarter said their digital marketing budget was unchanged year to year. And then here specifically because of COVID, how their digital marketing budget changed. What I wanted to highlight here is just that the most popular answer at about 47% said, adjust the tactics we are using, and 23% said added new tactics we have never used before. So merchants are primed for trying new things with marketing. Just like with other changes in consumer behavior and demand for goods, retailers are willing to shift their tactics. Okay, so why don't we dig into some examples? So this first example is from Urban Stems. They are an online flower delivery retailer, and a lot of their products are dependent on holidays. As you can imagine, Valentine's Day and Mother's Day are the biggies. So their gifts and their products are not always relevant to a large audience all year round. So part of their strategy is using bloggers and publishers and working with them to get their products featured in their partner affiliate content. There are several advantages of working with big news sites, as you can see here on the screen who they work with, USA Today and Oprah Daily. Consumers trust those brands. So seeing those brands highlighted by Urban Stems, which is a brand maybe they've never even heard of before, actually helps to legitimize Urban Stems and build a consumer's trust in their brand just by that association. When we talked to Chris Collier, the director of customer acquisition for Urban Stems, he highlighted that this brand awareness and brand trust is one of the main benefits of working with well-known content partners. Plus, when you are featured on a big news site like USA Today and Oprah, these websites continually generate traffic all year round. When those sites have a link to your website, that immensely helps your SEO value. These articles are, yes, popular at certain times of the year, but they gain traffic all year long, either from Google or just consumers searching on these content sites, which means readers continually see Urban Stems being featured, without, having to keep pay for something. And they click on that link, which further helps Urban Stems SEO value. So this type of content can definitely help in the short term when the articles are featured, but also in the long term. Urban Stems also really leans into the strategy, especially during the holiday season for gift guides. Maybe flowers wouldn't be a top of mind gift, but they're certainly nice and great hosting gifts. So they work hard to get their products featured in gift guides. And Urban Stems has revenue attributed to affiliate marketing increased by 150% since leaning on this strategy. So this next example highlights also the power of partnering with bloggers. The company we're talking about here is TCM, and they buy small brands that mostly sell on Amazon. They use influencer marketing to really increase the sales and brand awareness. So one campaign that they did was to promote a line of kitchen and dining products on Amazon. They identified bloggers who posted on social media about topics related to this, like cooking and kitchen and dining decor, and offered them free products in exchange for 50 of them to write about its brand. Each blogger got an exclusive coupon code to send to the audience so it could track which bloggers were effective. Overall, the campaign boosted sales 30 to 4%, which is great. But he says the biggest benefit was all the comments in the video posted by the bloggers. That helps to build the brand and increase the attention for its brand and its credibility. He credited those blogs to him being able to get a better price for that Amazon brand when he eventually sold it in 2019. So ultimately, all it cost him was the product, and even with that and the shipping, he says it was totally worth it, especially compared with how much brands spend on advertising on Amazon. So this next example we have is from NOLA Mattress, which is an online mattress company, and they are big on affiliates and specifically video. 35% of NOLA Mattress's website traffic is from affiliates, which is huge, especially thinking back to that average traffic data from the top 1,000 that we looked at earlier. Affiliate is second only behind organic, which is 40% of their traffic. The chief marketing officer, you can see his picture here, he told us that for their payment structure, they do a cost per acquisition model. The merchant pays the affiliate a percentage of the sale or an agreed upon flat fee for the sale. He really likes this method because they don't have to pay unless there is a sale. So he considers it a safer way of boosting sales than other marketing strategies, since it doesn't require that upfront cost. Most recently, it did a campaign with the Slumber Yard, a mattress review site and YouTube channel, and it compared the site NOLA Mattress with 3 other mattress companies on its YouTube channel, and the video resulted in a 13% increase in sales. So this is a little bit of background data on social media and influencers. This is from that same retailer survey, and most retailers said they use social media advertising to, of course, drive sales. But increased brand awareness and audience engagement are also popular answers. And here the same thing, we asked about retailers' perspective on influencers, and the most popular answer at 41% said they build brand awareness to the site. All right, so these next examples are about partnering with influencers. Lime Crime is a cosmetic brand, and they try to get the most out of the content that their influencers create. So they also distribute their products for free to influencers. And when I talked with Lime Crime's VP of marketing, she talked about its strategy and who it sends those products to make sure it reaches a diversity of influencers. So all the consumers can see their products on different types of people. Plus, it makes sure to send their products to makeup artists, people who work in salons, but also the everyday consumers, people who are really into cosplay or dressing up in costumes or doing makeup tutorials. So all these influencers have a different reach. And a lot of times Lime Crime is extremely impressed at what their influencers come up with. Just some really stunning creations that you guys can see here on the screen that Lime Crime is proud to be a part of. And when I talked with her, she was even saying how it doesn't matter that this whole look in the picture wasn't created with all Lime Crime products, because that's not how consumers use makeup. They have one brand they like for their eyeshadow and another for their lipstick. So seeing their product used with other products makes this influencer post more authentic. And you can see it's a little small, but all the tags that that influencer has, Lime Crime is right alongside other brands. And that's great, Lime Crime says. So this is still on Lime Crime, and you can see here how they use this influencer content on their website. You don't just have to use influencers in your marketing materials. They put these stunning images on their homepage. They know the product that they sent to the influencers, so they can even add these images to that product detail page to really showcase to consumers what this product can do. So this next example is from uglychristmassweater.com, which, as you can guess, sells ugly Christmas sweaters. Influencer marketing is about 12% of their marketing budget, up from just 0 a few years ago. But to get to that point, it took some trial and error. Like other merchants, it would send its products to influencers and hope they would post about it, and they would just get no results. So it had to learn how to gauge if an influencer would be a good fit for their brand. Something that they learned is that when you reach out to an influencer to talk to them about partnering with them, gauge how enthusiastic they are about the product. If they aren't being energetic about it with you, that doesn't really bode well for their future posts. Also, don't just be attracted to big numbers. Sometimes smaller followings with a more engaged audience will produce better results. I know Dave can talk about this a little bit later at StubHub with them using partners such as schedule websites for a particular team. Those sites provide maybe a narrow reach, but it's a highly engaged audience and can make for some meaningful sales. Ugly Christmas Sweater also taps into licensing and product collaborations. So as you can see here on the screen, the sweater has like a baby Yoda character on it from Star Wars. So Ugly Christmas Sweater contacted 200 influencers who are active on Star Wars forums, blogs, and Facebook groups because he knew they would be interested in the sweater, and asked them to post about it in exchange for a free one. 76 of them agreed, which is a great response, he said, and overall the campaign was a hit. Within the month, the merchant sold all of the 5,000 sweaters it had in stock. So just to wrap up here, I wanted to talk, just touch briefly on some of the big changes coming to digital marketers in regards to consumer tracking, with Google's changes to using cookies in the Chrome browser and Apple requiring apps to get users to opt into traffic. Here you can see that changing rules are a top challenge for digital marketers. And here you can see that because of these changes, retailers are thinking of ways of adjusting their marketing, with many of them turning to beefing up their email lists, using new targeting technologies, and using social influencers like we just talked about. So this last example here before our fireside chat is about a retailer, BK Beauty, that started actually as a content creator. This woman did makeup tutorials on YouTube as a creative outlet, and then started her own affiliate business where she would recommend the products and provide consumers with a link, and she would get paid. Because she was so successful at this, she and her husband decided to launch a business because they already had an engaged audience and they knew the types of products that its audience was clicking on and buying. So they developed their own products, launched their own site, and now they do millions of dollars in annual sales. And now 30% of those sales are from its own affiliate program or content partners now linking to BK Beauty and their products. So we caught up with them just to hear about what they were doing in light of all these tracking changes. And they said they were leaning into their affiliate marketing even more. Of course, they have a diversity of marketing channels that they use, but they have noticed a drop in the effectiveness of some of their ads because of the tracking changes and paused some of their spend. And really, they say what they find is the most profitable way is working with those content creators on YouTube, where they partner with them and their product is demonstrated with a really enthusiastic person. So just kind of a fun example to wrap up my portion of the webinar, but I'd love to bring Mike and Dave back here for our fireside chat to talk more about partner marketing. Hi, Dave. Hi, Mike.
Hi, April. How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Very well, thanks.
Great. Well, let's dive into our discussion. I'm sure our audience is eager to hear from you both. So for many years, affiliate marketing was considered to be a last click only channel. But we know from today's presentation that there is a wealth of partner types out there, from loyalty to content to savings destinations to blogs and more. So this question is for you, Mike. How can brands capitalize on establishing a well-diversified program and avoiding over-reliance on just a singular partner type?
Yeah, it's definitely something that all I think brands are focusing on. A diversified partner mix is important for a couple of reasons. You mentioned risk. That's one of them, but I'd also say that particularly when it comes to content, diversifying your publisher mix is a really valuable way to get your brand across the entire customer journey and purchase path. And then it allows you to capitalize on opportunities you may not have previously been aware of, and partners that are surfacing all the time and can really make an impact on your brand. So I think to do that, brands probably need the right processes and tools to tackle all of what I just said. For processes, I would say that brands need to focus on their goals, define them for themselves, and define them for their partners. Communicate that effectively to their partners so that they know exactly what the objectives should be. And then make sure that they're monitoring and communicating with the partners that are optimizing to those goals specifically. And then tools, when it comes to that, I'm rather partial to Partnerize. You know, we're able to make you so you can automate a lot of the manual and tedious tasks that come with looking for partners. So including partner discovery, we're able to surface a lot of opportunities that you may not be aware of. And then marketers and brands can focus on the communication portion that I mentioned, which is critical, and focus on what's best for their teams and for the brand.
Definitely. All right, Dave, this next question is for you. Affiliate relationships are typically the most commonly recognized types of partnerships. However, there is a much broader opportunity with other partner types that are not often readily apparent to marketers. So, Dave, in your experience overseeing the channel at StubHub, are there different types of partnerships you have monetized that span beyond that of affiliates?
Yeah, definitely. And I think we pride ourselves on our diverse partner mix. And you know, our biggest partnership is with CBS Sports. So they're definitely not, you know, a traditional affiliate marketer. Right. But what they do have is a ton of places on their site to promote specific events, you know, tickets to specific games in context. And that's, you know, that's really what we're looking for. And I know you alluded to, you know, we have some partners that are just schedules of events. And what's great about that for us is that, you know, those are not highly sought after sites. You know, you're not going to see big household name brands advertising on these sites, but it's amazingly valuable to us. So we can get these highly targeted placements for like a really good price. But we've also, we've done deals with the likes of FanDuel, or even groups of hotel concierges where they're buying tickets for guests at hotels. And I think being creative about who you're going after can really lead to a lot of big wins.
Yeah, definitely. I know, and we were chatting before this when you mentioned the schedule website. It's such a smart idea that maybe not as wouldn't be top of mind for me, and same with hotel concierges.
Yeah.
Great. All right, so Mike, this next one's for you. Based on today's presentation, the adage "content is king" seems to ring true with the range of creators leveraging the partner channel for monetization purposes. Have you witnessed any noteworthy trends with this partner type?
Yes. In fact, I'd probably say that it's not a trend. I think it's probably here to stay. There's probably a couple of reasons for that. One, I think the last 19 months for all of us has been rather transformative. That's certainly true for this channel as well. So customers, purchasing behavior has changed to where top funnel becomes awfully valuable. And I think in terms of numbers in 2020, we saw about 75% growth when it comes to revenue for content sites. That's compared to about 30% growth for the rest of partner types. So as you can see, while all ships are rising, the content sites are doing so, at least in our network, at a faster clip. And then we've also seen actually partners in the last 18 months to 2 years come in at quite a rate, and they're finally starting to see this as a revenue channel for them, and a channel where they can make some money. And I think part of that comes from brands being able to finally monetize for the work that these content sites are doing, so that either recognizing what they're doing about changing customer behavior, or being able to leverage different commissioning types in order to actually reward them for the work they do.
Right. That's interesting. So I talked a little bit about influencers in my presentation. They hit the marketing scene several years ago. They are still gaining steam. So many think about influencers through a branding lens. That is, PR teams working with the Kylie Jenners of the world, who command high upfront fees only in order to gain, their huge audience of followers. However, we saw a few examples in today's presentation that influencers are very much a part of the world of performance-based partnerships. So Dave, this question's for you. Has StubHub tapped influencers on a pay-for-performance basis? And if so, any key learnings you can share?
Yeah, I mean, it is a space that we are really excited about. And one of the things that is so exciting about it is the number of different variables that you can tweak. You've got different platforms, you've got different audience sizes. Our belief is that kind of the small to mid-size influencers, like maybe 100,000 followers, are the sweet spot of having some scale, but don't command the true premium prices. So, it's something where you can test into it over and over and over and over again and keep changing things. And if you find something that works, you can really scale it. And we've had a few, probably some of the most effective dollars we've ever spent happen in influencer. We had a guy reach out to us, and he wanted to give his girlfriend Phillies tickets for her birthday. I guess she's a Philly fanatic. And so, and he was like, if you give me some good tickets to give to her, I'll make a video about it. And we said, fine. So we gave him $300 worth of tickets, which, the Phillies had kind of an off season. So, you can get the best seats in the house pretty much for that much. And he made this really elaborate video where he made a chocolate heart, and he hid the tickets in the heart, and he made all, these chocolate covered strawberries, and went through all this elaborate process. And then he gives, his girlfriend the tickets. She goes nuts. And that video got 20 million views. So $300 for 20 million views, the best dollars we've ever spent. So we've done a few more, we've given him some more tickets to make more videos, and that's something that was a real sign to us that this is something we need to understand, and we're looking to scale it up in a big way in the coming months.
Yeah, lucky girlfriend, huh?
I know.
Yeah.
You're a Phillies fan, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys, I guess, are not going after the Kylie Jenners, keeping it.
Yeah, I mean, we did in 2019. We ran a campaign with Dude Perfect, which is like a top 20 YouTube channel, and on the day that the video came out, it was #1 on YouTube, period, like in all categories, which was an amazing accomplishment. But it came with a huge price tag, I think we're trying to lead more towards things where we've got a really clean read on it, and I mean, whenever possible, we're tracking everything through Partnerize. So all of our partnerships, all of our normal sort of traditional affiliate marketing, all of our influencer activations, like everything, we want to know what's happening. Yeah, influencer is a super exciting space.
Yeah. I mean, Mike, to kind of follow up on that, do you have any specific optimization tactics that have worked well in showcasing the value of influencers, whether it's being an attributed conversion credit or highlighting and emphasizing awareness and reach?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds simple, and it's been true for this channel for a while, and I mentioned it before, but the #1 thing to do with these partners is making sure that you're communicating effectively. They speak to their consumers in a different way, so you need to be able to make sure that they have what they need to tell your story as a brand. You can't just give them a commission and wish best of luck. You need to really empower them. And then you mentioned attribution models and compensation logic, and I think that's really what's kind of unlocked this channel a little bit in the last 18 months or 2 years ago, less so. So brands are starting to think about it differently. So they can power them through Partnerize, through first click rather than last click. We have a preferred partner methodology, exclusive codes that we can ensure won't get disseminated across the web and steal revenue away from the partner. In-cart attribution to make sure that the partner that really drove the sales wasn't getting credit. So in a lot of ways, it's one, the old school communication, making sure that it's kind of a face-to-face channel, but two, utilizing technology to make sure that the work that's done is actually being credited.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it's got to be very tricky with how tools to do it. I mean, this next question I have for you kind of goes along with that. So a lot of times marketers, they look at their channels through this short-term measurement metrics like return on ad spend and conversion, which of course are very important indicators of success. There should also be measurement emphasis around programs' profitability and customer lifetime value. However, in many cases, marketers struggle to pull all of the data across systems and tool sets to get that comprehensive view from that acquisition through to lifetime value. So do you have any examples? This question is actually for Dave, that you can share relative to how you measured the long-term effectiveness of your partnerships?
Yeah, definitely. So, when we're thinking about customer lifetime value, we tend to use 12-month value. So it's not truly the whole lifetime, but it goes beyond just a single transaction. And what we see is dramatically different performance in terms of average order value and repeat rate across different partner types. So, back to the concierge example, in those instances, the average order value is very high. It's like $1,000. If you're going to ask the hotel concierge to buy you tickets, it's probably like you're going to Hamilton, or you're not sitting in the bleachers. But the repeat rate there is not that great. That is not an area where we've made a lasting impression on the customer. They've talked to the concierge, they got their tickets, and it's good for us, it's good for the concierges, but it's not doesn't drive that repeat rate. On the other end of the spectrum, you know, I was talking to the CEO of one of the music sites we work with, and he said, hey, when we interview or when we survey our audience, they tell us they go to 40 concerts a year. And so the value of the customers that we're getting from that site, the average order value is a lot smaller. It's like $200, but the repeat rate is through the roof. And so, you know, it's important to not lose part of the story. And if you're just looking at average order value or conversion rates, you're not going to understand the true value of that music site, and that you know, those users are the ones we want to like hang on to.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's super interesting. I think you kind of answered this next question here. I wanted to ask you about getting insights down to that that partner level for repeat purchases.
Yeah.
Do you have any more details there that you want to share about what is driving that stickiness for StubHub?
Yeah. I mean, I think it is, you know, what's driving the stickiness for us is sometimes you don't really know exactly like why people are behaving a certain way, but it is, you know, it's extremely important to, you know, look at these things on an affiliate by affiliate basis, and not just, or partner by partner basis, and not assume that, you know, everyone in your program is the same, and that, you know, what's happening after the initial click is the same. So, you know, really understanding the whole story and you know, everything that user is experiencing is hugely important, and it takes some doing to not look at it in a blended way.
Right. Dave, another question for you. I know we're really drilling into you, but you know, you've got great insights to share. So can you share it all with the audience? What has helped your partnership program yield the most success?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll piggyback off of something Mike said earlier, but you know, it's interacting with our affiliates, and it is both, you know, building a relationship with them so that the individuals that are actually like have their hands on keyboards care about, you know, StubHub, and it's also, you know, important to understand what it is they're doing to promote you. You know, they all are promoting StubHub. You know, all of our partners, there's hundreds of them, and they're all promoting us in sort of slightly different ways. And so the only way to really understand everything they're doing is to talk to them and get to know them. And also, you know, that's part of the secret of scaling things, is like they're all out there effectively running experiments for us. And if we don't talk to them, then we're not going to get back, you know, all of the insights. And, you know, that's ultimately what we're trying to do, is like find something that works and is scalable. So, you know, I'll double down on Mike's comments about it's hugely important to, you know, to interact with, you know, your partners as much as you can, and really get to know what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm sure hundreds of partners, that can't be easy.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, you know, we definitely have like an 80-20 split, right, where the top 20% are driving 80% of the value. So, you know, we don't have to know them all intimately, but it is, you know, it requires some human power for sure to manage these things.
Great. Well, this was a great discussion. Thank you, both Dave and Mike, and I know we'll come back again for more audience questions, but first, I know Mike has a brief presentation for us, so I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, thanks so much. I really appreciate it, and thanks, Dave, for the conversation. I just wanted to give a little bit of an overview for those on the line here today, you know, who haven't heard of Partnerize, you know, what Partnerize is and who we are. And our view is put here pretty plainly on this slide here, is that we believe that we are the tool for marketers to turn the partnership channel into a profit center. The world of partnerships has evolved, frankly, as we've mentioned in the last conversation, where things have really changed. quite recently. It's a channel that used to be full of manual tasks of digging through spreadsheets, and now it's a true outcome-based channel that is scalable, and with the right tools, you're able to use a solution that allows marketers to focus on those important things like that communication that Dave was just talking about. If we can move to that next slide. Yeah, so we believe that today, brands need to be present across the entire customer journey in order to get results. So these content sites that we're talking about today, they're mid-funnel, top of funnel, and you need to be there to really influence consumers, which in other channels can get pretty expensive pretty quickly when you're not thinking about an outcome-based channel. Brands need a cost-effective alternative to subsidize the primary sales channels and the marketing channels that are out there, to leverage this and fuel true, meaningful, valuable growth. And we believe that Partnerize is the channel, or rather the tool that can allow you to do that. So marketers can unlock the value of partnerships using a variety of tools we have to get back to what they do best. So we can target audiences at scale and use automation tools and other levers to take away some of those manual tasks that used to exist in this channel, and while really focusing on being an outcome-based channel, just as it's always been. Next slide. So at Partnerize, we're there in the middle of the entirety of that brand relationship that you have with your partners. So that starts with discovery of finding those partners, finding those niche partners, finding those mid-tier partners that Dave talked about, tracking them appropriately, making sure that you're using this channel to see the entire customer journey, then manage those by utilizing our tools for the effective communication, collaborating with them, coming up with those unique commissioning rules that we talked about to make sure that people are getting rewarded for the work that they do, measuring constantly, making sure that the efforts that you're putting in place are effective and mitigating those that aren't, and then capitalizing on those that might be diamonds in the rough. And then we also are a tool here to allow you to pay those partners once those sales are actually achieved. We can do that in multiple countries, in multiple currencies, making it easy and scalable for you so that you can unlock opportunity across the globe. And then finally, protect. So, with our brand Verity tool, we're able to make sure that the partners you do have are sticking to the rules and regulations that you have for them, and making it a fair playing field for everybody involved. Next slide. So, for us, I work on our customer success and our services team, but in our view, service is not a tier that you have to fit into, but rather it's a choice that you make. So, whether it's a hands-off approach that you want us to have, where you've got a fully leveraged team that can really manage this program appropriately, or if you're looking to bring your program in-house, we have the ability to do that. We're flexible in our service models to meet that need. If we move to the next slide, I can show you a little bit more about that. We've got 4 key service levels. That starts with our enhanced level, which is for brands that do have that full in-house program that need minimal assistance. They really just need the tools to get to work and do what they know works well, all the way to Maximize. This is for brands that really do need that bespoke service model with the capability to launch and scale their programs from scratch if needed. Regardless of a program's maturity, Partnerize can be the tool to utilize the levers necessary to make the partnership channel a profitable one and take it to the next level. One more slide here. So, Partnerize, who are we? We're an organization that supports brands across the globe. We are truly a global organization. And that's true not only for the brands that we work with, but with the partners that we're able to connect brands with. So that's 1,800 clients of ours and over 750,000 partners globally. We're able to work in 218 countries and territories. That's facilitating payments in 60 different countries and in 28 different languages. So while we have 13 locations, we really are able to make this channel global and make your brand as global or as bespoke as it needs. All right, one more slide here. Just a look at some of our roster of clients, and I think you can see what I've mentioned in that we really work across a number of different channels. That's retail, travel, telco, financial services, direct-to-consumer, subscription models, tickets, as we've talked about today. These are the kind of brands that we can work with and the kind of brands that trust us. And so we really have, we're a customer first organization, and we're proud to have these brands work with us and partner with us. And that's Partnerize in a snapshot. If we move to the last slide, it's just a thank you for the time, and we'll be here for any questions that you might have.
All right, great. Well, thank you, Mike, and thanks Dave and April for the fireside chat. So we do have some questions for our audience, so I'm gonna start getting into those before we end at the top of the hour. So we have some questions here from the audience. I'm gonna start the first one with Mike. So Mike, I'm sorry you just ended speaking, but the first one is high priority for you here. So for those new to the partnership channel model, what are some of the key takeaways for optimizing their partnership channel?
Yeah. So I mentioned during the fireside, but I think what's important when you optimize, make sure you know what you're optimizing to, right? So as a brand, define what your goals are and name them, and then make those visible and important and part of the conversations that you're having with partners. Partners, particularly these content sites, that are able to engage with consumers at a more unique level and a more and have more of their attention span. Make sure that they understand what the objective is, and then reward them towards that objective. And so you can use terms like North Star and the like, but it really is true, particularly in this person-to-person channel, to make sure that everybody's aware of what goals are, and then you can start optimizing to them together.
Thank you. Yeah, so the next question from our audience is really asked for Dave. So aside from content partners, which other partner types is StubHub seeing growth or momentum with right now?
Yeah, one of the sort of most exciting categories is the buy now, pay later space. And so, Affirm has always been a key partner for us. They're like number 5 or 6 or something like that in our program. And just for context, we're driving about $20 million in sales per month at StubHub. So we're trying to make up more and more of that $7 billion that Mike mentioned. But yeah, buy now, pay later. And one of the sort of big wins I had earlier this summer was like on the same morning through Partnerize, reached out to Klarna and QuadPay and was like, hey, do you want to come join our program? And later that day, they were like, sure. And then they started driving sales like 2 days later. And now they're both in our top 20. So that was a huge win. I know there's more players coming into that space all the time. I know Affirm specifically, like they just announced a deal with Amazon, and they're getting bigger and bigger. So I think people are becoming more familiar with thinking about financing their purchases, and those players are starting to think about, hey, what are some other revenue streams? And here we are, where we've got a great relationship with a few players in that space.
All right, thank you. I'm going to go back to Mike again on this one. So for those new to the partnership channel, oh, I'm sorry, we already asked that one. I'm sorry about that. What is the biggest lesson you've learned from the team of partnership strategy experts you work with?
Yeah, we do have a few. I'd probably say the lesson that I've learned over, working with smart folks and working this channel for a while is that remember that you're not always marketing to yourself. I'm not a Phillies fan,
That's a good point.
so like a Phillies tickets aren't going to reward me. And all those concerts that Dave goes to, he said, those Jam-based customers go to 40 different customers or concerts a year. I go to 3, but the ones that I go to are really important, right? And making sure that you understand the audience so that you can properly market to them is really important. And it's the partners that you have are the ones that know those audiences, right? And know how to market them. So leveraging some of that, relationship that they have with the end consumer, while staying focused on your goals, as I mentioned, is important. So just because you think that something might not be interesting to you, there are certainly people there that out there that could be. So you're not marketing to yourself. You're marketing to those that find your product interesting, and don't be afraid to use partnerships that do that.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I think it is like what you're promoting, the exact product and thing you're promoting is one of the variables, and you could have a certain influencer, an affiliate, where you test with them and it feels like it didn't work out, but you just didn't have the right thing that you were promoting, and that it's important to, have that in your mindset.
That is a very good point. We see that a lot in terms of other companies' marketing and practices. So, Dave, there's a last one going to you, and I'm going to wrap up with everybody. But we talked about this earlier about the effect of the pandemic last year and has had on businesses and your business. So, what are 2 partnership channel best practices that you have adopted during the pandemic that you definitely plan to make permanent?
Yeah. Yeah. I think what jumps out at me is actually something that I'm hoping that we can not do longer term that we have been doing throughout the pandemic at a necessity. And it's sort of opened my eyes to something that is important to a lot of our partners. One of the things one change we made as we rolled into the pandemic is we moved to the consumed model or pay after event. Whereas before we would approve commissions and pay out our partners based on transaction date. And if you buy tickets on StubHub, you can't return them, you own them. If you want to get rid of them, you have to relist them. So we don't have a return window. And in normal times, like less than 1% of events get canceled. And so once you buy something, it's pretty much final. So we would pay based on transaction date. We were sort of forced to move to pay based on event date. And, as there's been uncertainty around, event cancellations. And so what I'm trying to do, or what I'm hoping to do, or what I'm working on is how can we pay our partners as fast as possible? And that's like talk with our finance team and negotiate with them and say, hey, I know we pay net 45 or net 60. Can we pay net 30 in the partnership channel? Mike and I have had some conversations about, pre-funding our Partnerize account so that we can, pay even faster. And, that is one of the things that I'm working on as we sort of roll, as the pandemic winds down, is how do we pay as fast as we possibly can, so that we can have a competitive advantage over our partners, and so that any of our partners that are intermediaries and paying someone else to promote us, how can we make that chain as smooth as possible? So that's sort of the the big thing that comes to mind.
Thank you. Well, as we wrap up, I just want to ask, everybody's provided some great insight and commentary on channel partnerships and the changes in the affiliate marketing program, especially with the change of the world in the past 18 to 24 months. So I'm just going to ask everybody across the board, any final advice for online sellers out there that are looking at this and want to expand what they're doing with their channel partnership? So I'll just go down the road. Mike, if you want to provide a little more additional insight.
Yeah, as I mentioned, I think, customer behavior and consumer behavior has changed. And so making sure that you're, there, to influence that customer path is important. So the partnership channel is really kind of unique in that you can, make an impact not only at the beginning of someone learning about a brand, but right at the end when they're deciding to make a purchase over you or over a competitor. And so, making sure that you're that you are incentivizing your partners to, make changes in that behavior across the path, and that you've got the tools and the strategies in place to do that is going to be really important. Last click these days is simply just not long for this world. I think we all know. I think being flexible is going to be really important, as we all learned about a lot of different portions of our lives.
Need flexibility. So April, from your experience with working with a lot of retailers and also vendors and what we talked about today, any advice from an editorial perspective on this topic?
Yeah, no, I kind of just want to echo a little bit of what Mike was saying. Just things have changed. One, marketers are willing to change their tactics because all the consumer behavior has changed. So I just think being willing to try new things, and I'm sure retailers acquired a lot of new customers in the past year, and how to really keep that customer engaged and get them to repeat purchase. And you can definitely use partners to do that, to keep your brand top of mind with all of your new shoppers as well, to really increase that ROI like we've been talking about.
Good, thank you. And Dave, I'm going to leave the end to you.
All right.
On final advice.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, my final words are, April, I really enjoyed your presentation. I thought it was very interesting to see, some of the data points you shared, and think about, how it ties into what we're experiencing. And the partnership channel is our fastest growing channel. We are experiencing some of the things you mentioned about, like lack of visibility on Facebook with Apple's changes, and organic search algorithm changes, and rising prices in paid search. Like prices are going up every year, have been for the last 5 or 6 years, and no sign of that slowing down. So how do we mitigate that? And the partnership channel is like a great way to do that. There's a ton of variety in terms of the tactics and the types of partners you can work with, and I'm hoping that's going to be like a huge part of our growth moving forward.
Great. Well, thank you. This has been extremely informative to our audience on different views and insights in the changing in this space, especially the partner channel opportunities. So I definitely want, on behalf of the audience and Digital Commerce 360, thank all of you for speaking today on this topic. So Mike, Dave, and April, thank you so much for your time, and a special thanks out to the entire Partnerize team for sponsoring today's event. So thank you so much for working with us on that. So as we conclude today's discussion, to the audience, you're going to see a pop-up window for a survey. So we would love to hear your feedback on today's webinar. So please take a few moments to fill this out. Your feedback really helps us deliver content and webinars for you in the future. So for all attendees and registrants, we will be sending out a link to everybody about today's live event. So you'll be able to replay that or pass it around to other people in your organization. So please check with Digital Commerce 360 for any additional information that you may need on this event. So again, thanks again to everybody and attending today's webinar, and have a nice day. Thank you.